Hello, family. Welcome to the Elias Siwula Show. My name is Elias, and I am your host. If you are joining us for the first time, please subscribe, like, leave your comment below, and don't forget to turn on your notification so you don't miss on our next episode. In today's episode, we have our guest, Bokang Mokoena. And Bokang is passionate about the after-school programs, community, and youth development. He started his career journey at the age of 18 and holds a lot of experience in the non-profit sector. He is also a founding board member at Pagamani Young Minds Academy, an NPO assisting young people to escape poverty through education. He previously volunteered with different civil organizations, both locally and internationally, working with children and youth. Currently, he is a programs manager at For Good, and in 2019, he was recognized for the top 100 Young Independent, TIY, or TYI rather, a very prestigious campaign inspiring and aspiring young leaders from across sub-Saharan Africa. BK, as he calls himself, purpose in life is making a contribution that will exist far beyond the time he is no longer alive. Bokang, welcome to the Elias Siwula Show. Really appreciate it that you made time to just share more about your life. Welcome to the show.
Hi, Elias. Thanks for having me. I like your energy. It actually reminds me back in 2013 when I was in matric. And thanks for having me today again. Yeah.
You're welcome, man. Thank you very much. Let's get into it, Bokang. I mean, really, your life is interesting. And I thought, look, let me not just enjoy this great experience of knowing you alone, but let's share it with the masses out there. And I will really want to just understand that establishing and maintaining an NPO is never an easy thing. And I know in the introduction, I've already mentioned that you are passionate about after school programs and developing young people. Tell us, how old were you when you started your NPO, and what was the purpose of establishing one?
So quite interesting that when you actually introduced me now, you said that I'm a founding board member at an NPO. That made me feel a little bit too big. But yeah, I am currently a founding board member at the Pagamani Young Minds Academy. And good question that you just asked. So when I started PYMA, I remember it was immediately after completing my grade 12 in 2013. So I realized that, there's just like a lot of overabundance of young people that want to uplift themselves, and they are so motivated, but then they are not really channeled into right direction in terms of what steps do they need to take, and what kind of resources do they need to have. Like, taking for an instance, I myself grew up in Freedom Park. I was like exposed to the crime in the community, the violence, the inequality, especially when it comes to education and all that. And there were quite a few of NPOs existing around Freedom Park, but no one really offered like educational programs. And something that a thought that came to me was like, how about we empower young people by giving them the resources, the education they need, so that they are able to lift them out of poverty? And that's when the idea for PYMA really evolved, and we started saying that our purpose will exist because we want to support these young people, give them the right tools and all that, so that they can start living a prominent life and really become prominent members of the society. However, in your question, you mentioned something around around establishing and maintaining an NPO, that on its own takes a lot of effort, a lot of courage, because at some point you really get discouraged, demotivated, and all that. So it's a matter of who do you relate yourself to, the kind of circle that you are in, so that you're always with people that understand your goal, that understand your vision, and where you really want to go. And that's really what made the process easy for me to maintain the Pagamani Young Minds Academy to the level it is at the current moment.
Great stuff. And I hear you mention that sometimes it's demotivating. I mean, and we know that with every startup, there are usually challenges that one faces. And I want to know that what challenges did you and your team encountered in the process?
So there were quite a few challenges that we had. So firstly, it's you're doing this because you've got the passion for it, and not that you've been trained or skilled in a certain way for you to put together an NPO and get it up and running. So the first challenge was understanding really different components of an NPO. So especially when it comes to ODs, which are organization development, things like your monitoring and evaluation, your administration part of the work that you do. And it came from asking the why question. When you always ask, why are we doing this? Why do we teach these kids? Why do we help them with applying for university and all that? And that's really something that channeled us to overcome all the challenges that we encountered. However, just to count a few, I think one of the biggest challenges was finding an operational site. I remember at some point we had to go to our community's councillor's office, asking for space and all that, because really we're operating like outside. When PYMA initially started, it was just like 12 learners would come where I stay, sit with them outside, and then help them with homework. So the idea and the passion was there, but in terms of where we wanted to take it to was really like a matter of struggling and all that. And once we got our first premises where we currently operate, I remember the first center, the first building that we had, at some point it was late at night and the wind was like heavy and all that, and it got blown away. And when we got there in the morning, we just didn't have a center where our learners could still continue learning and all that. And that was a very huge challenge, but that never stopped us, because that's where we got like a next phase of an opportunity, where we got like a proper building of our current center that we have. And the other challenge I think that you have is making people understand your vision. When you have the vision and you understand the vision and you know where you want this vision to go, it's very difficult to get a team and really train them to have the idea. They can have the idea, but then the question is the vision there? Do they see what you see? And that had to bring us to a point that had to put together like systems and processes in place, so that gets to build a certain culture within the organization. And once culture was there, everyone, it was easy for everyone to understand where the organization is going, what we are doing, all that. So yeah, challenges were there and they'll always be there, but it's a matter of how do you plan to overcome challenges. So that's it, to answer that question, Elias.
That's very interesting, Bokang. Look, and then I think you have just covered it very well in terms of understanding and loving what you are doing. I mean, the passion, because without passion, I'm sure you would have given up easy, with things not really adding up to what you planned or coming to, to what you wanted it to become. And my next question was going to be more on helping someone who want to serve their community through an NPO or starting an NPO. And I think you have already mentioned some of things that one really need, but what else can you say to someone who is looking to start or who is looking to serve his community or her community through an NPO?
So I get a lot of that that kind of question either through like social media, you know, when I open my DMs and all that. It's like, I want to start an NPO, what do I need to do? And then you meet people, you talk about PYMA and everyone is like, I want to do the same. How did you do it, you know? But I've got to realize that the NPO sector is really underrated, and a lot of work that you need to be willing to put in to start an NPO. It's not like you can wake up early in the morning and start that. I'm going to start this NPO and then get it up and running. You know, I always instead of it being a professional, it has to be calling as well. You know, you need to be called for this kind of work. And I would say to someone out there who's young, who wants to start an NPO and all that, is that first have a clear direction in terms of NPO that you want to have, because yes, the NPO can be there, but what kind of service do you want to take? I call those kind of individuals social entrepreneurs that go into your community, find what challenges are people like, do like a clear market research around that, and once you've assessed and gathered all that information, then start planning around in terms of what service do you need to provide to fill in the gap, you know? And once you fill in the gap, then you have a purpose, because you know whatever program or service that you are offering as an NPO, it's really meeting the people needs, and people are able to be also like acceptive of the program that you are offering, and get excited about it because it's something that they need. You are addressing their need, rather than just going on the ground and then starting something and you're not even sure if people are going to be interested in it or not. So really do your research, gather information, consult with people, you know, watch and maybe like listen to TV radio shows that are related to whatever kind of work that you want to do. But before you do it yourself on whatever it is that you want to start. But yeah.
That's very interesting. I mean, I like it when you mention that NGOs are overrated. And honestly speaking, having been exposed to the NGO work myself, I know how hard NGOs work, and then the impact the NGOs or NPOs make in the community is so big that one really, cannot begin to imagine that it's an NGO or NPO work. Really, I thank you, Bokang, because what you have just said is really going to help someone who wants to start. And market research or doing a research is really, I mean, even in private sector, most businesses fail at that stage where they don't do research. It's just all about what I like and then I'm going to do it. Whether people like it or not, you don't really begin to find out through research. And what you are saying, it's really relevant that one must go out to do research. Now, Bokang, you love volunteering, and we all know you have done it both locally and internationally. Now, tell us more about it.
So yeah, volunteering runs in my blood, you know. Yeah, it's really part of me. And coming to think of it, I've really started doing this very young age. You know, I've always had the passion for youth empowered at, like, I think at that time I was a prefect in grade 7 at Freedom Primary School. And I started like a smaller reading club where we would give motivational talks and then host assemblies in Mondays. And I always be excited to be involved in all those little initiatives. And then when I went to high school, I served as what do they call it? But it's the Student Representative Council. And I used to be like a public relations officer in that. And that really enhanced my spirit when it comes to volunteering. Starting PYMA post-matric became even more of it. And what really, in that journey of finding myself through volunteering, because I would say that I found myself and something that I love through volunteering, because I remember when I got the opportunity to go to the USA and also time, because honestly, goal was to give my time to the children that I worked with day to day, and all that, meeting different people around the world and just talking about the different experiences and what we do back in our communities in terms of giving back impact. And I realized in that sense that, you know what, my purpose in my purpose is to give, and give wholeheartedly, you know, give without regret, and give by knowing that, you know, me waking up every morning, it's to make an impact in someone's life. So it really has changed me. So I love volunteer. I'm not sure if that answers that really answers directly your question, Elias. But yeah, just to say that volunteering, it's something that I've always done since in time immemorial. Yeah.
Look, you answered the question perfectly. I mean, now I know that you have also been to USA doing this volunteering work, which is very interesting. And I like the fact that you are showing that it started when you were very young, in grade 7, where you started doing, stuff for others, and decided that, look, your purpose is giving. Now, I just want to help someone who is at home, maybe is a graduate, and they just don't think that volunteering is for them, because most people believe that they just will break into world of work without even volunteering. They don't think that having gone to school for 4 years or whatever many years they have, they should stay without a job, and or should be volunteering without being paid. Because I know that you have continued to do it without being paid. And then really, whatever motivated you should be shared. What motivated you, and how do you help that person who don't think that volunteering is for them?
I, a lot of, I'm not in school, but yes, I going to school, graduating, and all that. It's very important. But a lot of experience come from volunteering, and I think every student does get an opportunity really to volunteer, because you've got practicals at some point that you need to do, and that's volunteering, because it's like literally going to a company, having to work there without getting paid, but get marks for it, or get points to complete a certain qualification and all that. But a lot of graduates tend to lose track of that after they've graduated. Maybe, I don't know if it's that thing of saying I'm now qualified, and I'm now worth the price of being paid to do this XYZ. Probably those are some of the nuance with that. But I would say that do not stop when you graduate in terms of giving back and volunteering. Firstly, it really helps with enhancing skills. It gives you the experience in you get to learn a lot of things that probably you didn't learn when you were still at school, graduating, and all that. It also helps you with soft skills like time management, how to manage your time, because that's a certain skill that you will be required in the world of work to have, how colleagues and all that. How do you react or execute tasks? Because when you also go into volunteering, it's actually delivering a certain task either to an individual, to a school, or whoever the recipient can be. But it's ensuring that you take those skills very seriously and in a professional manner, to a point that it enhances your CV. You don't want to have that empty CV with no work experience. But if you know that I've learned with Junior Achievement South Africa, actually, but I've been there, I've been with the student scholarship program, I've been with Camp Sizanani Life Skills and all that. And I mean, the different experiences that I got with these organizations are things that I put on my CV. And tomorrow people, you've got such a huge profile and blah, blah, blah. But it's things that I've literally stood up every day, worked for them without even getting paid for it. But then at the end of the day, I knew that was able to develop me into being a better individual I am today.
I can attest to that, Bokang. I have seen you doing great job, and really not for, the payment was just a stipend, but you continued to work so hard, passionately, going to far places. I remember I did a project with you, and you go to Tembisa and do it with some grade 9 and 10 learners. And very well done, because that, I believe, really contributed well into your career, and that's why you are where you are today. And my next will be like, oh God, big news. We all know that you no longer involved with PYMA. Why?
Yeah, that's another question that I get a lot of time. So I not that I'm no longer involved that much with PYMA. I love the fact that at the introduction we also spoke about being a founding board member and all that. But I think being at PYMA used to be some sort of comfort zone for me. And reason being a comfort zone, it's because I was like a man of all portfolios. I was like a dictionary of the organization. You know, everyone when they needed someone, they would come to me and I have answers to all that. And once you know all the ins and outs of the organization because you started it, back in the years that we had this challenge and all that some point your growth can you easily shift away from growing because you're comfortable. And me leaving PYMA is that, as I've said, that I know we've implemented very good policies within the organ strategies, processes, and everyone was really aligned in terms of the work that we do. And I just wanted to stretch, be in an uncomfortable zone where I can learn, figure out new things. So that was the big reasoning of leaving PYMA, and also to show my team that I trust them so much that I can give them the whole organization and to run with it. And one thing that I did when I down in the entire operations, I joined the board of PYMA, so I currently sit in the board. But I didn't have that founder syndrome, that founder syndrome of always wanting to be part of the operations, but trying to manage. I just wanted people to run with it and take full accountability and feel that what we've been and trusted with this leadership role to lead the organization and all that. So I was really honored to have worked with a great team that was able to continue with the PYMA vision outside me being part of the operations.
Great stuff. I mean, what you're saying just remind me of one young director I know. She always said that, look, Elias, I don't want to be the business. I want to remain a business lady, meaning that all I know, I will teach to my staff that even in my absence, the business can continue. Imagine now me being the business that even when I'm sick or I'm away on holiday, people still call me just to get some work done. So I like what you're saying when you say you had to just put together some working policies and ensuring that people are guided by those policies and also making sure that they know all that you knew before you leave the organization. Thank you very much. And I can see now we have got a challenge with network. It's a little bit unstable. But are you able to hear me on your side?
Correct. I can hear you. Can you hear me?
No, no, perfect. I can hear you. It's only the picture is fine. What matters now is what people are going to be, hearing. I mean, it's some nuggets, great nuggets here. Now, tell us more about what you currently or what you are currently doing.
All right, so currently I'm working for a very prestigious company. So I recently, it's been a year, I joined for good as a program manager. So really like it's also like, volunteering because the work with that we do, it's passionate people, causes that need help. And there's a lot of NPO that exists and they've got needs, but really they find it challenging. Where do we go for this? So joining for good was a big decision for me because I found something that I'm able to wake up in the morning and in my day-to-day work, whether it's sending an email, whether it's in a meeting, I know it gets to contribute to in South Africa. And if I do it for NPOs in South Africa, it means that it goes back to beneficiaries because these NPOs that we work have got big beneficiaries that they work with. So yeah, to answer your question, I'm currently with For Good as a program manager.
That's very interesting, Bokang. I must say that in some of my projects, have benefited from your website, The Good, because there are people who volunteered through for good. And I'm sure I'm going to volunteer next, and I'm going to encourage all the viewers and all the members who subscribe to the Elias Sewela Show to please volunteer your time. It's very important. I remember in 2019, my sister and I will count our hours to say, this year I volunteered for so many hours. It was quite interesting, and we did it like more like a race to say, let's see who volunteer more hours in anything. And it was quite interesting and encouraging to continue doing so. Now, Bokang,
I'm glad you said that. So everyone should actually go to www.forgood. That's your Zay, create there, and then find opportunities to get involved in. Like there's always something to do to make a difference in South Africa.
welcome back, Bokang. It looks much better now. It was very interesting when you were giving the information about the For Good website. So I thought let's repeat it so that we can get clear information. Is that okay?
Great.
Perfect.
So with that, I was saying to everyone listening that, you know, I think a lot of people in South Africa. So as I said that I joined for good, and it's been a year with them. So I think a lot of people want to go and make a difference, but they don't know where to go. So the best way is to visit www.forgood.co.za. And when they get there, really, it's finding different opportunities that they can get involved in and make a difference in South Africa. And you mentioned an interesting thing that with your sister, you were just like competing with the volunteering hours that you want to give. So with the For Good platform, is that you do get a volunteering dashboard, so your personal dashboard that really trace and tracks all the hours that you've given in a particular time frame and the initiatives that you've been involved in. So it's really a nice way to just track that through a system rather than maybe putting a spreadsheet together to track all your hours.
Because with spreadsheets sometimes you forget it or you're just lazy to update and so on. But really, I like the platform, and I promise you I'm definitely going to just give some of my time before the end of this year and ensure that I do it for good. All right, now, Bokang, let's just dive into knowing you more.
Mhm.
Just a year ago, you lost your mom, and now you are raising a girl teenager that is your sister. Tell us more about that.
So for me, um, losing my mom was losing a part of myself. And by me saying it's losing a part of myself, recently, actually yesterday, I just wrote a message to say that I lost a cheerleader. You know, there are times when I feel like overwhelmed and I feel like I'm not doing great and all that. But I know she used to be that person that reminds me that you are great, you know, you can do this and all that. And her not being part of me, it's like, you know, there's like a void that no one can fill and only her could do it. And being left with my sister and knowing exactly the kind of love and the kind of support that I got from my mother, I feel like it's something that I also owe so much to my sister because she really didn't enjoy a lot of it. I've got an opportunity to have known and been with my mother for like 25 years of my life, and she only got to be with her for 12 years, you know. So it's just like a lot of things that she would have wanted to do with her, but unfortunately she couldn't. And I feel that, you know, I'm that young, responsible adult who has to be there, give her the love and the support that she couldn't receive. And very strange enough that people find it weird because what I do, they would have expected like a female inverted commas to be doing that, but I am doing it so well that I've it's like I've been schooled to do it. But I think when, as I said, that losing my mom being part of losing myself, I had to refine myself, and refinding myself was through a process of also trying to know better my sister and building that relationship of it's not just a brother to sister, but you know, it's a relationship of a daughter and a caring adult.
Wow, Bokang, I believe your mom is proud of you in heaven, and I must say your sister is blessed to have you. I mean, not every young man can do what you are doing. And like you're saying, most people would have expected a lady to do it better. But for someone like you to be doing it, I must say you have got a big heart, and well done, man. And I'm really sorry about your loss. I mean, you have mentioned that losing your mom was like losing a part of yourself. But I must say that, you know, what I like, you have mentioned that your mom was like a cheerleader in your life. And I
Mhm.
must say that she has done a great job. I mean, in making sure that you become a man you are today. I really don't know what to say, but look, I must say, standing from where I am, I'm really proud to see someone doing just what you are doing, Bokang. Now, I know something. I know something, Bokang. You don't like, or you don't talk more
What's
about.
that something?
It doesn't come out that. But anyway, let me just bring it to you. Really, I was saying that I know something you don't talk more about, and that is your sexuality. However, tell us how you came out to your parents, the community, and the workspace, and how did everyone take it?
So yeah, you do know something, and very weird that a lot of people find sexuality conversations to be a little bit of taboo
Yeah,
and yeah, or toxic in a way and all that. But
yeah, yeah,
at some point, I think it used to really make me feel uncomfortable. But I started realizing that, you know what, instead of being uncomfortable around this conversation, is thinking about the person receiving the information. Because I think the reason we have so much stigma, so much discrimination, and when it comes to issues related to sexual orientations and all that, it's because there's lack of information. People are just not well informed, you know.
yeah,
And I think it's an opportunity for us as the LGBTI community as well to start like teaching people, you know, around sexuality and all that. However, to answer your question in terms of how was it coming out to my family, i've 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 never experienced to come out to my family. I've always been that young boy who grows up wanting to play with a doll. And I know it sounds funny, but like it has always been that thing, you know, would watch TV sitting together as a family with my uncles and everyone, and I'll always talk about a handsome guy rather than talking about a beautiful lady. And, you know, I know that sometimes colors are not things that I associate with gender and all that. But
yeah,
if I had to, like, I would always want something pink rather than something blue. And even with toys, you know, I'm also against the thing of toys being a doll being for for boys and a car being for girls.
yeah,
But growing up as well, it used to be me wanting to have a doll instead of a car. So I think all that uh, created a picture to my parent to say, oh, this is how he is. He has always been like that. So being me now has always been something I'm comfortable with, because I grew up in a very loving and caring space that allowed me to be who I am. And obviously in the community, we've got different parties, we've got schools, we've got church, we've got, you know, friends around us, we've got the society on its own, you know. And it used to differ, you know.
yeah,
With my community, everyone would say that you'd say that window when you're a man, this is how you need to be. And I used to be so furious and frustrated at them and angry and all that. But I started learning, you know, unlearning certain things, because I used to be angry when people say that. Then now growing up, accepting, knowing who I am, I used to unlearn those that culture, you know, of being angry at everyone, because I started saying that there's nothing wrong with myself, but there's something wrong with them. And what's wrong with them is they're not well informed, you know. That's why they doing this. Maybe they come from a family where they do things XYZ, and they expect that everyone they meet would actually be like that. And it's nothing to take at a personal level. You go to church and you find still in church, you find homophobic people that are just against you maybe doing certain things in a certain way, maybe like just by a walk, you know, someone would have a problem with that and all that. but you know what? I started telling myself to say that God is love, and
Yes,
and
yes,
me
yes.
going to church, it's a part of serving the Lord. I
Yeah,
don't do it for who I see at church, but I do it for my own sanity. And when I go there, I go there to say that whatever comment or anything that it's there to break me, it's not gonna break me. Actually, it's building my confidence in terms of how I take things. And I know that at the end of the day, the same God that you serve is the same God that I am serving. And at the end of the day, he's love. He loves both of us. And I'm that person who believes that if you judge me, then if you judge me, that you call being gay a sin,
yes,
then as well with you judging me, that's a sin. So at the end of the day, if you think that I'm going to go to hell, then we both going together. So that's how it has been, and how I take I usually take things. But God said, come as you are, my people. And if this is how I am, then
yeah.
I should be going to the Lord the way I am. So yeah, it is really being different approaches, different challenges with coming out.
Mhm.
But yeah, the word coming out at some point, I don't like it, because I feel like I don't owe any explanation to anyone to talk about my sexuality. If
Yes,
I come across as this person and you realize that, oh, he's gay, oh, he's this, then it's how you take it. But I am not I'm not that person who's supposed to come and stand there to say, good morning, ladies and gentlemen, this is Bokang and he's gay. Me being gay has nothing to do with the work I do. Me being gay has nothing to do how I serve the Lord. Me being gay has nothing to do with this interview that I have. But
sure.
teach people on sexuality, and it's a matter of teaching them to really know that it's people, and we're different. We prefer different things, and it ends there.
That's awesome, Bokang. I mean, it's also quite interesting, and especially I think, like you're saying, at home it was never difficult for you. At church,
Mm.
you just decided how you do it, and then didn't really care what other people think or what other people say, but you just knew that God is love, and He says, "Come as you are." What's up? I mean, Bokang, do you preach sometimes? That sound like you do preach, and but anyway, it doesn't matter.
I wish I did.
Now, at the end, you said something about, like, you don't have to be saying or introducing yourself as gay in a workplace, and that really, I mean, brings me to thinking about discrimination and violence against people of diverse sexual orientation, rather, and the gender identity. And it is a serious problem, and South Africa is not immune at all. I mean, we have seen people in a workplace being discriminated against because of their sexuality. How have you dealt with it? I mean, in a workplace, have you faced challenges? And maybe my other question would be, what will it take to build LGBT inclusive workplace in South Africa?
So firstly, to confirm, I've never experienced any violence when it comes to sexuality, or anything related to that within, like, my work experience. And I don't know if it's probably the way I approach people, or the way we speak about things. And also maybe to thank God, to say He has placed me in right places where I've never experienced all that violence. But I know quite a few friends who do. People would This other friend of mine was saying that literally they got like in a fight with the manager because of that had to lead to a dismissal. And the purpose of the dismissal was really not the the factor that they placed, was really around sexuality. But obviously they had to find like a nice way in terms of how to put it
Yeah.
together. So I think with corporates, organizations, institutions, there just has to be equal rights and policies in place that gets to protect everyone. And it gets I think it needs to protect human beings instead of protecting gender or sexual orientation. By me saying that, it's that simple things like, when it comes to leave, Elias probably can get is it paternity leave, and then the mother can also get that leave. But if I go for adoption, do I get an adoption leave? You know, and those are really sensitive conversations that people don't want to have. But when we talk about equality, are we saying that it's now equal? So I don't want to dive deep into that honestly, but I think those are the kind of things that we really need to look into when we structure human resource policies within our institutions or organization, and just making it, that's what I'm saying, it shouldn't be a male female thing, but it should be a human being thing, you know. If it gets to happen to a woman, why not to a man? And if me being gay or being a trans or anything, why does it have to be different for me? So yeah, that would be my response to that question. Honestly, that's a quite interesting question that you've brought up.
Very, and I like how you just respond to it. I mean, Bokang, you have just made it easy to understand, and really, I'm happy that you have not faced or encountered such issues that has to do with your sexuality. And just
Mm,
in closing, Bokang, I know a lot of young people are demotivated, especially now with COVID-19, disrupting everything,
mm.
the unemployment in our country, and that is around the youth and all that. So, what motivation do you have for them?
Yeah, you know, when it comes to the significance of being young and also living in South Africa,
Yeah.
I think young people are the backbone of our nation.
Mm.
And what we need to, I know COVID-19 has affected a lot of us, you know, especially young people, when it comes to our careers, things that we want to do, and all that. But I think that we don't have to forget that as young people, we need to continue to stand as one.
Yeah.
And when I say as one, I mean like as one voice, you know, a solid voice that will paint like a telling picture of a better nation. And I think everyone, we need to firstly, before we even like, you know, talk about the effects of COVID-19 on young people and all that, let's just remember how far our country has come. You know, we've come so far, and we still have a long way to go. And we are young people, and I believe that we need to stand
Bokang, I lost you.
and united we stand. And then I'm still here. Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you now.
So saying that united we stand, and then divided we fall. And I think we just need to remember that we need to push hard in everything that we do. We don't have to give up. We don't have to be afraid of failure. You know, challenges will come. And the most important thing is, how do we approach them? And never stop dreaming, never stop believing in yourself,
Yeah.
and always wake up with a purpose and feel like you've done something in each and every day. And above that, guys, yeah, let's be young, let's live, let's dream, let's explore, and also let's be responsible.
Bokang, I can't thank you enough, man. But really, thank you for making time for this interview. I really appreciate the information that you have shared with us today. We got to know you better, and then we didn't just know that, but we also knew the things that you have done. You continue to motivate throughout this interview. That's what I got, and especially when we were talking about the work that you have done, or the NPO work that you have done, that made me realize that actually there is no such a thing as not having something to do. One can always
Mm,
try to give their time to somebody. And I think with that said, I just saw a status earlier today that says that if you can't find someone to help you, just decide or go out and help somebody, because sometimes we are the help that we need. I mean, than to start comparing ourselves with someone next door to say, okay, I might be suffering, but I feel I'm a little bit better than that person. If you feel you are better, go and help them. If you need to share a bread with them, do just that. Don't wait for someone from far to come and help you, because like you are saying, we need to remain united. And then being united is just being out there, understand the issues faced by your community as a young person, and together with other young people to look for solutions. And in my training with my students, usually I tell them that, you know, if there is anything that entrepreneurs do, they go out and look for problems, look for challenges. They don't run away from those, because in challenges, in problems, that's where you find a product or a service that you can render. And then I think if we go out and look for such, we will definitely start thinking about solution than always belittling each other or looking down on each other and never grow at all. Thank you very much, Bokang. And ladies and gentlemen, that is Bokang Mokoena having shared with us more on his career journey and his sexuality, him taking care of his sister. What a great gentleman he is. Thank you, man, and enjoy the rest of your day. Thank you. I really don't know how to.
Thanks, Elias.
Thank you.
I really appreciate having
Bye,
me.
Bokang.
Thanks for having me.
Okay, bye.
Thanks. Bye.
Sharp.